Hello chess lovers, I have an interesting game for you played by the 8th world chess champion Mikhail Tal. The game was played in 1949 and at that time Mikhail Tal was 13 years old. This game is actually his first published game. His opponent is Leonov and Mikhail Tal started with e4. His opponent went for Caro-Kann defense c6, d4, d5, e takes d5, c takes d5. This is the exchange variation of Caro-Kann. Bishop d3, knight f6, h3, h6. It's better to play e6 at once. h6 as if prevents bishop g5, but bishop g5 can't cause any problem. We see bishop f4, e6 now, knight f3, bishop d6. And after the exchange of bishops we see c3 move, knight c6, white castles kingside, black castles, queen e2, rook e8 preparing e5, knight e5, queen c7, and Mikhail Tal goes for f4 with later intentions of playing f5 and opening up the f file. And black played a bad move, he took on e5. It's better to play queen b6, putting pressure on b2 square, and after queen b6 white is having as if some problems in developing the knight on b1. But we see knight takes e5 in this position, f takes e5, knight h7, queen h5, and suddenly white is getting a perfect position to attack. Right now white is threatening bishop takes h7 and then taking on f7, or taking on f7 at once with a rook is also possible. Black played rook e7, knight a3, trying to bring the knight on d6 square, a6, taking under the control of the b5 square, knight c2, queen d7, and Mikhail Tal finds another way to switch into the game this knight. Knight e3, queen e8, preparing f5, and here comes a destructive move by white. Can you find that move? Ready? In this position, 13 years old, Mikhail Tal played rook f6. An amazing sacrifice. Black didn't accept the sacrifice and played queen f8. But let's have a look what will happen if you take on f6. Here comes bishop h7 check, king takes h7, knight g4, putting pressure on these two pawns. If queen f8, then rook f1, f5, knight f6 check, king h8, and now comes rook f3 with further intentions of playing rook g3 and then rook g8 check, and white is easily winning. But let's go back. What if in this position black will take with a knight? Here comes e takes f6, g takes f6, queen takes h6, f5, closing this diagonal, and now again comes this knight g4 strong move. And black is just losing. It's very difficult to play any move. Actually black can't prevent a checkmate. If you take on g4, then queen h7 check and then queen h8 checkmate. And let's go back. As I have already mentioned, after rook f6 black played queen f8, and here comes rook f4. Not the best continuation. It's better to play knight g4. If knight takes f6, then e takes f6 and white is winning. But we see rook f4, bishop d7, and now comes knight g4, bishop e8, and another destructive move by white. Can you find that move? Knight f6 check, knight takes f6, e takes f6, rook c7, f takes g7, king takes g7. Well, if you take on g7 with a queen, then rook g4 pin is winning. So we see king takes g7. Here comes queen e5 check, forking the rook and the king, and black resigned. If for example a move like f6, then you are simply taking on c7 and white is winning. A great game by a 13-year-old Mikhail Tal. Your comments and questions please. Good luck.